All right, joined now by Dr. Paul Fadale of University Orthopedics. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The Pats have been relatively healthy since the Hightower injury, so we haven't seen you in a while. Good to be here. Bye week for the Patriots. Let's start with that. These guys who endure so many hits throughout the year, so much wear and tear on their bodies, how essential is getting a week off this time of year?
So the argument goes, boy, if they take a week off, they're going to get rusty, they're going to lose that hitting,
right.
They're going to lose their edge. But these guys are beat up, all of them. Every team on the field, every athlete who's competing is beat up. And from the medical staff, our point of view, it's as good as it gets. Getting that bye week going into the playoffs is like gold. So the medical staff, I think, and most people think it's a good idea.
Absolutely. Tom Brady has been dealing, we don't have many details, but a left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder, and an Achilles. 40-year-old man, supposed to be the MVP of the year. Those things, how can they have an impact on him? Because his play has dipped a little recently.
Well, the theory is he may have injured his AC joint, and that's pretty common in football. You take the ball, you get hit, and down you go. That can be treated relatively successfully. It's a non-throwing arm, so that's something that during the season he can have that injected, which means literally cut the pain out completely for the game. And it will take weeks to heal, but he can get through that. The Achilles is a little bit more difficult. You can't just inject it or numb it or take the pain away. You got to work around it. Now, he's not exactly super mobile to begin with, but in his field, he's got to get out there moving and running, so it's been a harder injury, I think, for him to come back from.
Several guys dealing with nagging things. A couple of the running backs, Rex Burkhead and Mike Gillislee, have knee issues. Those are running backs where their job is to cut and move and shake. So, you know, a non-life or season-threatening injury like a torn ACL, any other knee injury like they're experiencing, what is that doing to them?
So they come out with the diagnosis of sprain, that sort of generic phrase that it's not ACL, then it's got to be a sprain. Usually, but not always, a sprain's an MCL. That's a ligament on the outside part of the knee per se, and it is something that can heal over a few weeks. Unfortunately, playoffs are here, so how much time do you really have? So the bye week buys you a little time. You might be able to put some numbing medicine around it, but if it's not really good to go, unlike certain positions, there really is no way they're going to come back. If you can't cut on it, you're not going to play in the NFL.
As we've experienced this brutally cold weather the last couple of weeks here in New England, how does that impact player injuries? Now, obviously, the surface is heated and treated. It's artificial turf. But how does weather impact injuries, if at all?
I don't know if it's almost more psychological sometimes. So you see the teams coming into these brutally cold stadiums, and they don't want to be here. They don't want to play at this time of year. Except for frostbite and things like that, which is pretty rare for these athletes, the rates of injuries don't go significantly up or down because, like you said, the fields are really pretty well groomed from the old days when it was like landing on concrete. It was a frozen field. Much worse for concussions and such injuries.
All right, so you're the team doctor for Brown football for the Providence Bruins, so you're in the trenches. This story about Tom Brady's business partner and personal trainer, Alex Guerrero, treating other Patriots, him reportedly being kicked out of the stadium only to work with Tom. From your perspective, having an outside person telling players how to treat their bodies that maybe doesn't align with the team's view, how problematic is this? Because it seems like it came to a head with the Pats.
So you've been in these locker rooms, you understand. It's like the military. There's the guy at the top and down it goes. So you have someone else in that locker room saying things, implying things. No, don't do this, do that. I don't believe this, I believe that. You start raising questions in the athletes' minds. Now you have 10 of them or 20 of them, and now you have this fraction of the team that's really not in sync with everyone else. Worse for the medical staff, they got to go back to the coach and say, look, we think the athlete's at A, B, C, or D. The coaches then design a game plan around that information. Now he comes in, he doesn't have A, B, C, or D. You don't know what you have when the field's going, when the athletes go on the field. So this is an enormous problem. There is nothing more sensitive than a locker room than that outsider who's not in sync, that we're not following the chain of command. So you could see this coming, even for Tom Brady. You knew it was inevitable that this was going to start causing problems. He may be great. He may be really doing wonderful work. It's really the chain of command of who's saying what to whom, when, and how.
So it's unique because Tom Brady is the quarterback in the franchise, so he's his own unique situation. But the methods in which he adheres to, the pliability, no heavy lifting, that may work for him. Whether or not it works for a big lineman is another story. What do you think of, I don't know if you've read the book or read much on it, his TB12 method?
So I haven't read the book per se. I know it created a lot of controversy. I know Alex created a lot of controversy. Right. You know, he has written things that he was curing diseases, whatever, with some of his nutritional. Maybe not so much. So there may be not a lot of science in what he does. It doesn't mean it's not appropriate. It just means that there may not be a lot of science behind it. And so it's okay to try different things, but I think you should try it within the context of the team, not external to the team. And I think that's where they got into trouble, because now you have two people running that team. I don't think you can have two people running Tom Brady. That won't work.
All right, Dr. Paul Fadale, University Orthopedics, thanks so much for joining us.
Great.
And we'll have much more from the Sports Wrap coming up right after this.